Hi, I'm Matt Bailey, and these are your weekend notes for August 1st, 2020. Our top story this week, Garth Brooks addressed a variety of topics during a 75-minute press conference. Among them, the postponement of the rest of this year's stadium tour dates to 2021, and his withdrawal from consideration for the CMA's coveted Entertainer of the Year award. The latter, he says, was due in part to the backlash after his win last year. Here's Garth in his own words.
They came back and said, hey, look, as much as we'd love to help you on this, we can't determine what artist is up for what award. And I totally get that. And they tried really hard. And so when we told them we were going to have this press conference, they went back and had another meeting. Very sweet of them to go through all of this. And they just came back and said, it's not our call. We cannot pull you out of an award. So today we sit here and humbly ask, with all the gratefulness and love in the world, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to pull ourselves out of Entertainer of the Year. And it got a little, I don't know, it just got a little, it wasn't fun. Let's put it that way, okay? And at my age, what I do is fun stuff. But there was one tweet in there that really stuck in my head that said, hey man, this guy, why doesn't he step down and just have the Entertainer for the next generation? 100% agreed.
For more on the big announcements from Brooks, let's bring in the musicuniverse.com site founder, Buddy Yan. Buddy, now the biggest surprise for me wasn't the CMA announcement. It wasn't the tour postponements. We kind of guessed at least the tour postponements were coming, and I know we had both speculated on the podcast that maybe they would do some kind of emeritus thing for Garth going into maybe this year since he achieved that record. What surprised me the most is that there were a ton of journalists on that call and nobody raised their hand to ask about the album Fun, which now he's been officially teasing for a year or two. Didn't that surprise you that nobody brought that up?
Yeah, I was expecting someone to bring that up. I mean, it was just kind of the elephant in the room. Been teasing an album, releasing multiple songs, 7 in fact, over the last 2 years, and just keeps delaying it. The album's done. He just isn't ready to release it in the middle of this pandemic, and I get that, but at the same time, a lot of artists are, and I wish he'd release it.
Now, something that the venerable country music commentator Trigger pointed out is that Garth made this announcement, but he kind of did it in a self-gratifying way. The underlying tone, Trigger thinks, is that he was just always a shoo-in and he's just too successful to have lost the award in the years coming. But I think that misses the point. I think Trigger has a valid point, but I think it misses the overall point as to why he had to make an announcement. And that was to get out in front of this. You have to get out in front of it because when you don't show up for nominations, people will wonder why. So he was kind of damned if he did, damned if he didn't. You think he did the right thing by making this a public announcement, even though this really has to do with an industry award show?
Yeah, I get that side of it, but I think letting people know, hey, I'm stepping away. This isn't something I want to do anymore, as far as earning that title, and very rightfully so, could earn it as long as he's touring. I think, like he said, it's not fun anymore because of all the backlash. I know Eric Church and Carrie Underwood were as much as deserving, but just didn't earn it as far as the industry thought. And that caused a lot of problems with people, mostly fans, but, I know Eric has spoken out about it, but, it's just one of those things you can't control. And Garth saying something now as the second round of ballots are about to be released makes sense, so that way he can try, like you said, get ahead of it and stop it from happening. But ultimately, it's up to the industry.
Is Garth Brooks the big tech of country music? Is he too big to fail? Because, again, going back to what Trigger was saying, that kind of is kind of the overtone when you have to say, whoa, 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 I guess the popularity here is too big. We have to step away. Is he too big to fail going into award seasons?
No, not at all. I mean, he's failed in many other aspects. It's a list we won't get into, but he very well could, not receive it again. But I think just because of the way he does his announcements and all the sellouts that he gets, that it's just kind of anticipated. And he's trying to stop the controversy again this time before it starts. And, I commend him for it. I disagree with him stepping down. I think he could win it 10 years if it was allowed. But, I respect Garth and his decision, and he's an honorable guy.
What makes no sense to me is because the CMA makes the rules why they couldn't work with him on an emeritus status for the award. Because if somebody else ever gets to 7 Entertainer of the Year awards from the CMAs, which is the pinnacle, yes, ACMs are important, AMAs are important, but CMA is very much the standard bearer, while ACMs are more like the party. I don't understand why the CMA couldn't work with him on it, because to me it's a genius idea. If you get to 7, your 7th is a goal to get to where you win the Garth Brooks Lifetime Entertainer Achievement Award. Why did you glean anything? He kind of didn't really address. He said that they were sweet and tried everything they could. But when you make the rules, can't you do whatever you want? Why couldn't they stop people from voting for him and saying, hey, 7 is the limit, we're going to retire him from consideration?
I honestly don't know. I was kind of wondering that myself. I would assume they could make the rules. Maybe that's not a rule they want to make because, it's a bunch of industry that is voting. So they're just going to throw names in there, and those names, they'll accept any name. And if they get enough votes, then they're on the ballot and they're on the second round and then finally the final. And then there you have it, it's awarded. I think it's just probably too much maybe for them to say, no, we're not allowing Garth to do this anymore. I don't know. It could just be a bunch of politics with inside the CMA there that they don't want to deal with.
Sure, and we have a great relationship with them. We reach out to them. We're on their release list for our news site. So no judgment, just a curiosity. Now, let's pivot to these concerts, these postponements. He did not mention it in the press conference, although I think he was supposed to, that Vegas has been postponed up to February 21st. Thank heavens we have a date. I see you're wearing your Vegas shirt. You hopeful it's going to happen?
I am. This is actually the inaugural concert tee, and you and I both were smart about it. We snagged one of these things back over the break, knowing that this was a very possibility that it may not be the inaugural concert anymore. I think Garth is kind of expecting it not to be, based on what was said later in the press conference during the Q&A, but I think it'll happen next year. I think February is going to be too soon. So many tours have been postponed to the summer or beyond. I think, and he mentioned it, January is going to be kind of the pinnacle moment there where things might be telling if we're going to be able to proceed with shows that soon. But I would like to see February, but I'm thinking just based on all the other routings that's going on that it's probably going to be too soon. And 2021 is going to be a crowded year with everybody trying to make up for lost time.
Well, we'll be able to make up with our concert coverage. Buddy Jan, thank you very much for joining me on Weekend Notes. Let's actually toss right now to your notable releases.
Thanks, Mac. Shock rocker Marilyn Manson has teamed with Shooter Jennings for producing duties on his new album, We Are Chaos. The 10-track project is available September 11th via Loma Vista Concord and features the title track, which was released this week, in Impact's Radio on August 17th. The album will be available in a variety of configurations, including CD, Hot Pink Shimmer LP, Deluxe 180-gram splatter vinyl with a bonus 7-inch, and Silver Glitter Cassette. An Infinite Darkness picture disc is also available to collectors. Rhino Records has announced the deluxe edition of Lou Reed's New York for September 25th on multi-format. The 3-CD DVD 2 LP set of the legendary artist Sire Records' debut features newly remastered sound, unreleased studio and live tracks, plus the DVD debut of the New York album concert video. This limited edition and Rhino exclusive bundle also comes with a cassette version of the New York album. The box comes housed in a 12x12 hardcover book. Blues rocker Joe Bonamassa's new studio album, Royalty, inspired by his British rock heroes Jeff Beck, John Mayall, Eric Clapton, Led Zeppelin, and Cream, will be released October 23rd via J&R Adventures. The project was recorded at the legendary Abbey Road Studios in London and features 10 tracks. The The project will be supported with a live stream concert from the Ryman Auditorium on September 20th. Reba McEntire has officially announced the 30th anniversary reissue of her iconic RIAA triple platinum certified album, Rumor Has It, for September 11th. The anniversary vinyl edition will feature a live acoustic version of Fancy recorded at the Ryman, with the CD and digital editions also featuring a new dance mix of the track. A Walmart exclusive vinyl we previously mentioned has been removed from the retailer's site, but is still expected to be available. Robert Plant is digging deep into his vaults for a new solo compilation on October 2nd. The limited edition 2-CD set, Digging Deep Suburbia, showcases landmark tracks from each of Plant's 11 solo albums, including a number of songs featured on his podcast, Digging Deep with Robert Plant. 3 previously unreleased tracks are included in the 30-track set. Finally, Rhino has a Fleetwood Mac early years box set in the pipeline for September 4th. The 8-CD set, called Fleetwood Mac 1969 to 1974, includes a remastered version of 7 of their studio albums and an unreleased 1974 concert recorded just a few months before Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined the band. A vinyl box set from 1973 and 74 will also be released on the same date on black vinyl, with a colored edition being offered exclusively via Rhino's store. I'm Buddy Yon with your look at this week's notable releases on the Music Universe Weekend Notes.
Lollapalooza will commemorate this year's festival weekend with Lolla 2020, a free 4-night broadcast taking place this weekend. The broadcast will air exclusively on YouTube live beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern each night. The 4-night event will include more than 150 performances and appearances featuring fan-favorite sets from previous festivals and original performances from artists all over the world. Don McLean is celebrating the 50th anniversary of his hit American Pie by telling its story with a feature-length documentary, stage play, and book. The singer-songwriter has announced plans for The Day the Music Died, the story behind Don McLean's American Pie, a feature-length documentary about the iconic opus. It is set for release at the end of 2021, along with a children's book. A new stage play will also revolve around McLean's deep catalog. That's in the works, and the songs will include Vincent, Castle in the Air, and Wonderful Baby. Guns N' Roses have rescheduled their 2020 North American tour dates due to COVID-19. The trek has been pushed to summer 2021, kicking off July 10th at Milwaukee's Summerfest. It now wraps in Los Angeles on July 19th. Unfortunately, the band shared that some of the dates could not be moved due to scheduling issues and had to be canceled next year. A&E's biography series will premiere a new documentary special celebrating one of rock's biggest stars. Featuring exclusive interviews and archival footage, Biography, The 9 Lives of Ozzy Osbourne, delves into the many lives and incredible career of the man who has personified rock and roll rebellion for decades. The doc will premiere on Labor Day, Monday, September 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Randy Travis has released his second single since a stroke took his voice in 2013. Fool's Love Affair is a never-before-heard song that was written by SiriusXM host Charlie Monk, Milton Brown, and Keith Stegall. The waltz impacted country radio this week, and we had a chance to speak with Randy and his wife Mary about the unearthed single. Here's what they had to say about their input on the final cut. Please forgive the video quality as it was recorded via Zoom. Hi, again, thank you for having all of us. This is great. So glad to be a part of this. I'm just wondering, we heard a lot from the producers, but I'm wondering, as you were looking at that multi-track, Mary and Randy, what was your creative input into the final product that we're listening to today?
Nothing but approval.
Really?
You know, it was in the hands. It had been written back in 1982 by Charlie and Milton and Keith. So, and Kyle. Once it's in Kyle's hands, I don't think Randy ever worried about any of his music after it was in Kyle's hands. So, all we did was sit back and wait for them to send it and say, "What do you think?" Well, we loved it. So, I guess our only creative input was approval. Just, hey, thanks. It was in good hands.
Continuing celebrations around the 50th anniversary of the Glastonbury Festival this year, REM's historic headlining set from the Pyramid Stage in 1999 will be released globally next Thursday, August 6th. Fans can tune in for the YouTube premiere at 3 p.m. Eastern. The concert will only be available for 72 hours on YouTube. And finally, Korn is paying tribute to country and southern rock great Charlie Daniels, who passed away earlier this month. They've covered his signature track, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and they've released it via Bandcamp for charity. Those are your weekend notes. Remember, you can always check out the latest in music news, reviews, and exclusives, as well as our podcast this week with songwriter Kent Blasey at themusicuniverse.com. I'm Matt Bailey. Stay safe and have a great weekend.